Good morning. Come on in. Don't be afraid. Just have a seat here across the table from me. I'm just doing my Bible study this morning and would love to have you join me. The house is pretty much filled right now with people, but I think they're all still asleep. We had a great party here last night at the Pierce clan. My brother and my sister and their families and my dad. There's cousins, there's spouses, there's grandchildren. I don't think there's much empty spaces anywhere in this house except for maybe right here in the kitchen. But I'm sure if we keep our voices down, it'll be okay for us to have this Bible study together. Today we want to finish up Matthew chapter 2, if we can, reading in verse 19. But when Herod died, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared in a dream to Joseph in Egypt, saying, Rise, take the child and his mother, and go to the land of Israel, for those who sought the child's life are dead. And he rose and took the child and his mother, and went to the land of Israel. But when he heard that Archelaus was reigning over Judea, in place of his father Herod, he was afraid to go there. And being warned in a dream, he withdrew to the district of Galilee. And he went and lived in a city called Nazareth, that what was spoken by the prophets might be fulfilled. He shall be called a Nazarene. Now we have a lot here to look at this morning. Let's see what we can do here quickly. First of all, I think it's important for us to always remember that Matthew goes way out of his way over and over again to point out that Joseph was not Jesus' natural father. We see that verse 20 says that he should take the child, not Joseph's child. He should take Joseph's child and the child's mother, or his mother, and go. It's just important to note that Matthew wants to be very careful about his language. It's also interesting to note how the dreams to Joseph just continue. We actually see here a total of 4 different dreams. If you want to go back and add them up through Matthew 2, there's, we see the dream originally where the angel tells Joseph not to be afraid to take Mary as his wife. We see the second dream where the angel warns Joseph to take the family and go to Egypt. We see this third dream where we see the angel saying it's okay to leave Egypt and could come back to Israel. And then we see a fourth dream here in the same passage that it should be safe in Galilee, and that that's where Joseph should take the family. It's interesting when we get to verse 22 that when this would be Joseph, when he heard that Archelaus was reigning over Judea in the place of his father Herod. Now, of course, by this point in time we know that Herod has died, and that was the primary reason why Jesus and the family had to escape to Egypt. And with Herod being gone, then it was okay to come back. But we see that Joseph was very much concerned that Herod's son Archelaus was reigning over the district of Judea. Now Herod knew politically that there was no way that he could pass on his entire reign, his entire area, to just one heir. So he split up the territory into 3 regions, and the part that Joseph would have returned to had he gone back to Bethlehem would have been Archelaus. Now Archelaus was even worse than Herod. Reading in one of my commentaries, it said that Archelaus had begun his reign with an attempt to out-Herod Herod, for he had opened his rule with the deliberate slaughter of 3,000 of the most influential people in the country. So going from Herod to Archelaus was no improvement. So Joseph goes to the northern area of Galilee, an area that was ruled by another one of Herod's son, a man by the name of Herod Antipas, which comes into play later in the story. But by comparison, Herod Antipas was a much more, well, I don't want to say benevolent, but a better ruler, a less bloodthirsty ruler than what Archelaus had been. Then we come to this very last line in verse 23, that what was spoken by the prophets might be fulfilled, that he shall be called a Nazarene. Well, Matthew here has information that we simply don't have today. We cannot find this verse anywhere in the Old Testament. That's not to say that there wasn't an expectation at the time, or that prophets had predicted that Jesus would be a Nazarene. It's just information that has frankly been lost through the last 2,000 years. Well, that's going to wrap up our Bible studies for 2008. Tomorrow morning, yes, we won't take a vacation. January 1, we'll pick it up right here on Matthew chapter 3, verse 1. Have a great day today.